Finally, can America and China escape Thucydides' trap? So Thucydides' idea is not, so let me make sure what it's not. It is not that because the rising power is getting bigger and stronger, it says, I'm big, I'm strong, it's time for me to attack you. And it's not because the ruling power says, well, look at this upstart. He's already almost as big as I am. If I leave him alone, tomorrow he's going to be even stronger. I better fight him now. That's not what happens. What happens is, caught in this dangerous dynamic, third-party actions become provocations to which one or the other feels obliged to react, to which the other primary actor feels obliged to respond, which then lead to a cascade, often dragging people where they don't want to go. So how did the assassination of an archduke in 1914 produce a conflagration that burned out the whole of Europe? I mean, at the end of which it was so devastated that historians had to create a whole new category. That's why it's called World War I. It's a puzzle. I mean, I have a good chapter on it in the book. It's a question I've asked for, since I was a student at Harvard. I still can't believe it. I can't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. After the war, every one of the principal actors had lost what he cared about most. So the Austro-Hungarian emperor is trying to hold his empire together. Empire's dissolved, he's gone. Russian Tsar is trying to back the Serbs. His whole regime been overthrown by the Bolsheviks, the communists. Kaiser is trying to back his only ally in Vienna. He's been tossed out. France is military allied with Russia. It's been bled of its youth for a whole generation, never recovers as a player in international affairs. And Britain, which had been a creditor for 100 years, has been turned into a debtor and is on a slow slide to decline. So if you'd given the people a chance for a do-over, nobody would have chosen this. But they did, and it happened. So who is our best candidate for a provocateur in the current dynamic between US and China? Well, watch this week, watch this space. Kim Jong-un. Could Kim Jong-un drag the US and China into war? Never, it's impossible. I asked this for the PLA Senior Colonel's Academy when I was there 2 months ago. This young colonel said, absolutely not, no way. He said, nobody in China wants to have a war with US, not one person. Everybody knows it would be catastrophic. And he said, I study US. Nobody in US wants a war with China. They know that would be crazy. So it can't happen. So I said, well, I thank you. But when I've studied, it says, Chinese study history a lot. Anybody else have a view? So this other senior colonel, he said, let me answer. Of course they could. The reason why, of course they could, they already did. This already happened in 1950. The young man said, I wasn't born. That's okay. I can't help that. Okay. In 1950, North Korea attacked South Korea. South Korea was almost overrun. US came to rescue last minute, pushed the North Koreans right back up the peninsula, right across the 38th parallel. MacArthur thought he was going to finish all the business by Christmas and we were coming home. Korea was going to be unified. Out of the blue came 300,000 Chinese, and then another 500,000. Beat us right back down the peninsula to the 38th parallel where the armistice. So tens of thousands of Americans, hundreds of thousands of Chinese, millions of Koreans died in this war. Most of the Americans were killed by Chinese. Most of the Chinese were killed by Americans. Did anybody want a war between the US and China? No. Mao had only the year before barely consolidated control of China. The US was Superman. We had just dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki 5 years before to end World War II. So the idea of you're going to attack Superman, I mean, forget about it. But they did, and it happened. So watch this space. In the months immediately ahead, either Kim Jong-un is going to conduct more ICBM tests, And after the next series or the series after that, but not a year, before a year's out, he's going to have the ability to strike San Francisco or Los Angeles with a nuclear warhead. So that's inconceivable, but I'm telling you that's a fact. Or somebody's going to attack him to prevent this from happening. Or there's going to be a miracle. So I'm praying for a miracle, okay? Yeah, but that's hard to count on. Well, how bad would it be if Kim Jong-un can be able to attack San Francisco or Los Angeles with a nuclear weapon? Well, for folks in San Francisco, this is a big event, okay? But he's not going to stop when he can only do that. He's going to continue working on his program. Pretty soon, he'll be able to get a nuclear weapon to New York. Oh my God, or Boston. Yikes. Is he going to attack us? No, because he knows we would respond and destroy his society. But if he succeeds in having the ability to attack us, what else is he going to do? Well, we can go down that in the questions if you want to. Or, and this is exactly what Donald Trump told Xi Jinping when they first met, which was in Mar-a-Lago in April, he said to him, you can solve this problem. You're a big country, this is a little country right beside you, you can solve this problem. But if you don't solve this problem, I'm going to solve the problem, because I'm telling you, there's no way in hell Kim Jong-un is going to be able to attack America with nuclear weapons. But he said, but if I do it, you're not going to like it. So he served him chocolate cake. This was the opening dinner. He excused himself, went to the room next door, and announced that the U.S. had just launched 59 cruise missiles against Syria, just to make the point of how we might do this. Okay? So will Trump attack North Korea in the months immediately ahead? He might. And if he does, will the North Koreans attack Seoul? Almost certainly. And if they attack Seoul, will we then destroy the artillery and the rockets that can do more damage to Seoul? Probably. And if we do that, will we have a second Korean War? Likely. And if we have a second Korean War, will China become a combatant? Likely. They think, well, this is crazy. 1950 was pretty crazy too, okay? Crazy things happen. So to conclude, the purpose of this book is not to be fatalistic. It's not to be pessimistic. I'm inherently optimistic. It is to say the dangerous dynamic that we find ourselves in creates extreme danger that we wouldn't otherwise face or wouldn't otherwise recognize. And under conditions of extreme danger, one requires extreme actions, more imagination than you would normally have. So business as usual, no, you've got to stretch imaginations. More adaptability than one would normally have. So I'm hoping what the book will do is help the thinking American community and the American policy community first recognize, yes, this is extremely dangerous. There's no simple way to escape these conditions. This is going to be a chronic condition for years to come, decades probably to come. And to deal with it successfully, we will have to have as much imagination and as much adaptability as, for example, the U.S. displayed in creating what was ultimately the Cold War strategy. So it's not like this is beyond human capacity, not even beyond American capacity, just not normal. So can the U.S. and China escape Thucydides's trap? The answer is no and yes.